Welcome to Screen Judge. Today we are discussing my top 10 favorite movies of the year. The movies I consider to be the most well-made and fun films of 2012. First, I want to kick things off with my 11th and 12th picks, which are actually comedies. Comedies very rarely get shout-outs in these kind of lists, and I think these two more than warranted it. 21 Jump Street and Ted. Both are very finely made films that consider cast members extending beyond what they're known for, in this case Mark Wahlberg and Channing Tatum, and then doing great work. They're both very funny in their respective roles, and there are cameos throughout both the films that definitely help move it along. The filmmaking is great, they're both consistently funny. I saw both twice in theaters and have seen them both several times since, and they hold up. 10, in its 50th year anniversary, the Bond franchise. Skyfall. Skyfall's number 10 on this list because they finally figured out how to make Bond a new, interesting Jason Bourne type character. They took the Casino Royale-esque style and meshed it with the old James Bond, and it turned out to work very well. The film is more personal. It's a personal story because you have people attacking MI6 as opposed to trying to destroy the world, which is an overly cliched story for the James Bond films, but it still works. Zero Dark 30. This film is in my top 10, but low on the top 10 for the same reasons. It's an expertly made movie, does everything correctly, the cinematography is gorgeous, the direction is spot on, the performances are all fantastic. There are moments where I was suspended off the edge of my seat. There are moments in this scene where Catherine Bigelow took what she'd started in the Hurt Locker and expanded on it and made it perfect. This is probably her greatest movie so far. It will be a classic down the road. It'll be a movie you look at when you think of Catherine Bigelow. But for me, in a tough year like this, it didn't quite get higher on the list. Now I'm going to get some heat for this, but Wreck-It Ralph. Wreck-It Ralph is by far and away the greatest family film of the year for 2012, and it was just overall phenomenal movie in general. I sat there and had a lot of fun. There are so many times where I expect a certain thing out of a movie, where you go into it not knowing, and then you decide later, oh, I like the movie a lot. This movie, the entire way through, I was entertained and loved it. And it wasn't built on pop culture references, per se, like a DreamWorks movie where they constantly throw crap in your face. Looper. Looper I've had out of my top 10, in my top 10, close to the top of my top 10, and at the very bottom of my top 10. And this is where I finally settled upon it. Looper is a very stylistic film. It's very well made. The cast is great. Joseph Gordon-Levitt has a lot of fun. Bruce Willis is always good, and supporting actors like Emily Blunt, Paul Dano, they nail their roles. The story is great. The first 3 quarters. That last quarter of the film takes kind of an awkward turn for some of the people, and myself, I still find it hard to fully accept it. At the same time, that's very cool. I appreciate it. I appreciate the fact that it wasn't just another sci-fi movie. Probably the most fun film of the year all the way through, The Avengers. I gotta give props to Travis Downey Jr. and Mark Ruffalo is my favorite in the movie. Downey Jr. and Ruffalo together, that was a perfect pairing. I hope that we see more Ruffalo and Downey Jr. as these characters on screen together. They're great in Zodiac, one of my favorite films from that year, 2007. Gotta say, Joss Whedon really nailed this, and going forward it looks very, very profitable and awesome for Marvel. Kind of a surprise, kind of came a little late for me, Silver Linings Playbook, but it really deserves this 5th spot. I'll tell you why. Bradley Cooper is different than we've seen him before, and he really proves he can act and be engaging as a leading actor, besides doing the Hangover gimmick or just being an asshole. Here he finds a happy medium, and it's just great in the role. Jennifer Lawrence is probably one of the best I've seen her. She's very mature. She's like a Sandra Bullock. She's got a great career. She's going to be able to do comedy, drama, action. Just look for her in the future. Robert De Niro gives one of his best performances in a long time, and one of the best movies he's been in a long time. Daniel Russell is a phenomenal director. We know that from The Fighter, 3 Kings, going through his entire career. He's a great director, and this movie is one of his best ones. This shouldn't be too surprising. Lincoln. I love Daniel Day-Lewis in this role. Spielberg, this is the best movie he's made in a long time. I do believe that Lincoln is going to clean up the Oscars. Would it have been my pick? No. You'll see later on the pick I would have preferred. But Lincoln is a very well-made movie. That camera work, it's a lot of talking in this movie. There's a lot of story and dialogue, and Spielberg makes all of these scenes interesting. Every single scene is interesting. You're never bored. Tommy Lee Jones gives one of the best performances he's given in a long time. Deserved Oscar nomination, possibly win for this performance, and well done. piss people off, but this is my favorite movies of the year, The Dark Knight Rises. It's one of the most entertaining movies I've found this year. Yes, there are some plot holes. Yes, it does jump around through a lot of time. It just gives Batman that bad guy that he cannot beat physically for the first time, and there's all these different things that work about it. And Hathaway's fun. Christopher Gordon-Levitt has a good role. Morgan Freeman and Michael Caine come back. There's so many things about it that I love. I've seen the movie. I saw it 3 times in theaters, once on IMAX, and I saw it several times after that on DVD. I bought the trilogy. Every time I've seen the movie, I've not only enjoyed it equally as much as I enjoyed it the first time, I've enjoyed it a lot more. My first viewing, I was a little sketchy about it. The second time I saw it, I realized what it was trying to be. It was trying to be a fun, awesome superhero movie, and it is that in every respect. And at the same time, it's trying to be as realistic as possible, and it succeeds in that. Christian Bale is the definitive Batman for Christopher Nolan's franchise. I'm a huge Christopher Nolan fan, and this Christopher Nolan movie might be in the lower end of his totem pole, but as far as a fun Christopher Nolan movie goes, this is one of his best. Argo. Argo is probably the best made movie directionally of the year, which is why I'm a little upset Ben Affleck wasn't nominated for the Oscar. But I do believe the Academy Awards do realize their mistake, as Ben Affleck has won every other major award for directing. So not only are we saying he is one of the best directors of the year, he is the best director of the year this year. He was the best director. He deserved the Oscar. The movie is near perfect. It's got these comedic elements with Alan Arkin and John Goodman. They're just phenomenal on screen together. Arkin nails this kind of role. He's perfect in it. Ben Affleck, one of his better performances in his career. As we all know, he's given some doozy performances, but behind the camera, he's very assured, and he helps himself to a good performance, which is very interesting. And my favorite film of the year is Django Unchained. Yes, this is going to cause quite a stir for people that watch this video. I don't care. Django Unchained is my favorite movie of the year. To me, it is his second best made film behind Pulp Fiction. Why? Because it is Quentin Tarantino doing exactly what Quentin Tarantino wants to do. Tackle some hard issues, and it delivers some awesome performances. Jamie Foxx has one of his greatest lifetime roles. Christoph Waltz is my favorite performance of the year in this movie. I could watch him do Tarantino dialogue all day and be perfectly content. Leonardo DiCaprio gives what I believe to be his best performance in a film ever. Sam Jackson has one of the greatest performances he's had in a long time. He's kind of become a cliched version of himself now, and then Django, he gets to mix it up and be a little different. This movie is fun, it's awesome, it's dramatic, it's bold, it tackles complicated issues while making it fun. Tarantino understands something that I love about cinema, and that's that movies are meant to be engaging, first and foremost. They are pieces of entertainment, and at the same time, they are art. And Tarantino realizes that they are art and expertly crafts them while making them entertaining as hell. These movies are not for everyone. If you are going to be offended by the N-word, or offended by lots of excessive blood, those are my thoughts, and if you guys have different ones, let me know. Feel free to like, dislike if you have to, subscribe, and keep looking out and watch out for the Oscars coming soon. Until next time, that's your verdict.